All right. Hello, guys. Welcome. Hey, do nothing. Yes, I am back. And thank you, I missed you all as well. Well, welcome back to the weekly streams. Hopefully you guys didn't miss me too much, as do nothing I said here. Yeah, so I'm gonna start right away. I'm pretty sure people are getting the notifications now. I'm sure people are getting ready to jump into the stream. But you know, I have been a bit, absent with these streams, but hopefully you guys are able to at least, hopefully YouTube's algorithm still allows you guys to see that I am live, or at least if you guys do have your notification bells on, obviously notification bells will be available once you hit that subscribe button. Do nothing, you said we missed you a lot. Yes, thank you so much, guys. So all you have to do is literally hit that subscribe button, and then that notification bell icon will pop up, and you'll have to just click on that icon, and you guys will know that I am live once you have your notification bells on. Okay, so with that being said, today's stream will be a sort of an update on APLD. So on a recent video, specifically then private but not public, CFO Swingtrading report technical analysis video got some attention, and a lot of people were saying that they're gonna wait for a potential update on this name. So it's been about I guess a week and a half almost since APLD was featured in our CFO Swingtrading report. And again, you guys can join us through the link down below. It is the very first link that is shown in the description box down below, so it'll be very, very hard to miss it. So make sure you guys click on that link to join us. All right, so APLD, let me actually just bring up the actual report here. There it is. Okay, so this is on the week of June 23rd through June 27th, so last week. Okay, and we had a very nice top-down research on APLD, right? So obviously I have my own bearish take on it based on what I saw, based on what the company has been showing, right, fundamental wise and financial health wise. But again, it has its own credibility for a high risk but highly rewarding potential for long-term buy, because of all the deals and potential revenue growth and earnings growth that this company could have. So I kind of want to go over that, right? So far, right, let's go over kind of the more major parts of this company, right? So the one thing that I really noticed and I did not like at all was that their total debt, right? The only thing that seems to be consistently going out the past 3 quarters have been their total debt, which is nearly at $1 billion, specifically $993.67, right? Oh well, $993 million and 60. Oh, not 67 cents. My apologies, guys. I'm supposed to say million there, but so you guys know what I mean, right? So nearly $1 billion in total debt. Okay, and all of this is happening while their cash pile, their short-term investments, right, are shrinking. Right? So it shrank from $286 million in quarter 4 of last year to a measly 69 million in Q1 of this year. And again, compare this to their total debt, right? That's not good, okay? And you guys might be saying, okay, well, you know, this is just a growth company, right? Yeah, we shouldn't be, you know, going too hard on them for their debt, right? But that's the thing. These companies, these kind of quote-unquote growth companies or just smaller companies that are just trying to turn into potentially good growth companies, or at least leaders in the specific group or industry or sector, when they have this much debt, okay, it's not a good look, because it just shortens their lifespan, right, for the company. Actual lifespan, like I'm literally talking about the lifespan, and also it doesn't give them enough room to potentially expand into other business ventures or whatever venture that the company wants to do, or even just specifically investing into their own R&D, right, research and development on whatever needs or ideas that they need to further their core business, right? So I'm just trying to say all of this in layman's terms, guys, so hopefully you guys are understanding this, right? So overall, this is not a good look, right? The entire, you know, balance sheet, income sheet, you know, cash flow statement, it's just not looking too good, all right? So it's just garbage, like I said here, right? But here is sort of the growth prospects of this company that investors and traders are very, very interested in, right? So first of all, obviously this APLD, right, Applied Digital, is trying to become a leader in overall the entire AI infrastructure industry, right? This is kind of a very recently burgeoning industry that people have been focusing on since, I would say, late last year is what I would say. And it's a very, very I would say prominent industry to be looking into, because the fact that AI won't work unless we have this AI infrastructure in place, right? And we're seeing rapid amounts of money going into these AI infrastructure companies, or at least companies that are trying to build AI infrastructure to allow the propagation and burgeoning of AI systems, AI, whatever AI. That's basically what I'm trying to say here, right? So this company, it was basically a cloud computing company, but now it's an AI hyperscaler. So it's basically both. They basically signed two. Excuse me, I meant CoreWeave here. I forgot to say CoreWeave first. So CoreWeave, which is an AI hyperscaler and cloud computing company, right, basically signed 2 lease agreements with APLD, right, spanning a total 15 years for their partnership. And this partnership specifically states that APLD will be providing the AI digital infrastructure specifically for CoreWeave, and it's going to be giving them potentially, right, 250 megawatts of IT load from its main headquarters, Ellendale data center, to support CoreWeave's AI and high PC or high performance computing infrastructure. And John, you said I've got a loss so far, but hanging tough. Yes, that's one of the things, right? There's a high risk but highly rewarding, potentially highly rewarding position, right? So this is the growth prospect, right? The investors, right? The investors who have been in this name since, you know, single digits. Well, it's back to single digits now today. I'll get more into the technical aspects as well soon. But what these investors are hoping for is there's going to be a pipeline, right? Quite literally a pipeline, not a biotech pipeline, right? But a pipeline of deals and partnerships from larger companies, larger AI companies that are dependent on Applied Digital's AI digital infrastructure, right? But here's the thing, right? Yes, these deals are coming through, right? APLD attracted NVIDIA's attention and allow NVIDIA to invest into this company. Or they have a significant position in APLD, and they haven't sold it yet, thankfully. And CoreWeave most recently had a partnership, right? They made a partnership for 15 years. But these partnerships could end, right, prematurely. There's always that possibility, and APLD could potentially not go through with their agreements, right, whatever the agreements say, even if there could be a backlog of partnerships in the future, right? But that's the thing, right? All the investors, the long-term investors, are hoping for APLD to become a potential leader in this overall burgeoning industry of AI infrastructure, right? This is the shovels of the gold hype that we saw years ago, right? And for AI, we need the AI infrastructure, right? So, for a potential hype for this company, it's very, very tangible and palpable, but we need to see actual follow through from this company, right? And this is where that kind of scrutiny is going to start coming into this company and will reflect on the actual share price for the company, right? And this overall AI revolution is trying to have a lot of companies stay up to date with the very, very fast-paced, ever-changing AI ecosystem is what I would say, right? And APLD is essentially, they don't really need to follow along, right, with that quick pace changing environment. All they need to do is provide the environment as to where that ever-changing AI environment could continue, right? So APLD is just trying to be a leader, right? Even though it is relatively a quote-unquote smaller company in this overall AI infrastructure. But this is where I think we can be seeing a potential opportunity, right? So APLD could still see more investment from larger companies like NVIDIA, right? Or it could be potentially a buyout as well. But when I did think about this buyout potential, okay, I don't know if any big companies are willing to take on their total debt of almost $1 billion. And I'm pretty sure in the next quarterly earnings or whatever report, whatever quarterly report that they will release, for the rest of this year, right? We have 2 more quarters left, basically, since quarter 3 just began. I'm sure we're going to be crossing that 1 billion number, okay? And that's something that you guys should be watching out for. Again, the total debt, like I said earlier, it's not good, right? Yes, there is debt financing, leveraging debt, right? A lot of growth companies do this, that is true, right? But in the longer term, we need to see significant decrease of this total debt. We need to see the company actively working towards paying down this debt as they are growing their core business, right? And that is building the AI digital infrastructure for bigger companies, okay? And that is something that they have to work on, right? This is a must, right? This is a must if they're going to survive or potentially even have a buyout potential, right? And again, I just don't know what companies will be willing to take on this total debt if they do decide to buy out APLD. So again, that buyout potential is not really something that I'll be taking seriously in the next 3 to 5 years, maybe into the end of the decade, okay? But APLD, again, hopefully, I'm just being optimistic here. Hopefully they follow through with the first partnership that they have, major significant partnership that they have with CoreWeave, and they follow through with providing that 250 megawatts of IT load from their main data center, right? So, it's something that, okay, so obviously it's a 50-50 risk is what I would say here, plain and simple, right? For everyone who is willing to pour in a lot of money into this high risk but potentially highly rewarding name. But again, this CoreWeave partnership alone is going to span a total of 15 years, right? And this deal is only projected to generate around 6.5 to 7 billion in revenue. Okay, so you guys have to be expanding your time frame on that, right? Just based on this one singular deal alone, this partnership alone. Because again, what are bullish investors looking into for APLD? More and more partnerships with other companies, right? Since CoreWeave was a very significant deal that came out, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, right? Or 3 weeks ago, actually. So this is something that we need to absolutely, see where the company is able to, first of all, follow through with this significant partnership and garner more, I guess, of a backlog of these partnerships in the future. But then again, this is a 15-year partnership with just one company alone, and it's only roughly projected to generate 6.5 to 7 billion in revenue for APLD. And that's what I meant by the growth prospects of this name, right? It's only a prospect, right? We have yet to see this come into fruition. So that's where we're kind of at. It's kind of this gray area of, do I hold on to APLD for the longer term? Because again, this one partnership alone is 15 years, right? So you got to think about whether or not you really want to pour all of your money into one company rather than, diversifying into other AI infrastructure names. There are many others out there that are potentially even better positioned to provide better AI infrastructure than APLD, right? And that's where things can get a bit complicated, right? Because even if there are companies out there like I believe when I was doing the research here, there was let's see, there's one company that I saw that was a lead it could be a very huge leader in the AI infrastructure industry, but I think it was EQIX, right? Equinix, right? So EQIX, this, I believe this is the correct ticker. Yeah, so EQIX is kind of doing the same thing as APLD, right? But this is a much larger company and has a better track record, is what I was saying, right? And even if EQIX, right, decided to buy APLD, okay, maybe because they have a more innovative way of providing the megawatt power for AI, right? AI usages, right? AI hyperscaler usages and other cloud computing, whatever it is, right? All those technical terms, okay? I just don't know if APLD will be able to survive until then, right? I don't know if they're gonna have the run rate cash, first of all, right? The run rate cash to continue to operate in the next 15 years, right? Even if they have these deals. So you guys have to really think about these things, right? And just purely focus on the fact that this is still a growing and burgeoning industry, and there's going to be a lot of players that will fail at what they're trying to do, even if they have these crazy innovations that could potentially change the entire industry of the AI infrastructure, right? So, again, I've mentioned this, that this is a potential gold rush, right? And the AI revolution, right, where AI infrastructure is basically the shovels for the gold that we saw in Gold Rush, right, where the shovel sellers essentially had a more consistent income and were a lot more wealthier compared to the people who are actually looking for gold, right? So that's kind of the, I guess, a second factor of why people are really just hyping up all these AI infrastructure names like APLD. But again, you just have to watch out, right? Because we're not selling shovels here. We're actually trying to see if these companies are able to provide these huge loads of power and demand that other companies require, right? So I really have to focus on, all of us really need to focus on this deal with CoreWeave and really scrutinize how they basically perform for this potential 15-year partnership, right? How will they truly provide the needed demand that these bigger companies, these AI companies, will need, right? So, it's just a huge race to become a leader, and APLD has shown promise with these investments from NVIDIA and these partnerships with CoreWeave, but again, we need to see actual follow-through, and I think we're nearing that stage now, right? Because we had this huge deal coming through with CoreWeave, right? This huge long-term partnership, right? It's over a decade, right? That's great. It's amazing, right? And the projection, the earnings and revenue projections are awesome, okay? But the construction of the data centers and even just the investment into building these data centers are it's going to take a heavy toll on this company that already has a huge amount of total debt, and it continues to rise while the entire cash pile and short-term investments continue to shrink. So again, from a financial health perspective, this company gets an F from me, an F rating, right? So again, yes, you guys can say that this is just that they're just starting out. You need to give them more room to move and a lot more time for them to be able to go through with the partnerships that they have and potential other partnerships in the pipeline, right? So it's just the overall fact that it takes so much capital these days to even just build one data center. I'm not so sure that APLD will be able to follow through with just this single partnership alone in the next 15 years. Okay, that's just my bearish case, right? My sort of it's just my bearish case, right? I mean, there's a lot of other companies that will potentially do a lot better compared to APLD, right? So if there are any, delays, if there's any, problems with the contract of the partnership, there's going to be a problem with this company, okay? And the growth prospects will significantly shrink as well if anything like that happens, okay? So, I believe CoreWeave and Applied Digital kind of agreed to, for this entire partnership, they agreed that they want to have, APLD wants to have a data center facility by I think by the end of this year, or early next year is what I've read. Yeah, I think somewhere between, let me actually look it up. I'm pretty sure that was the case. Yeah, okay. So they're expecting to have a data center campus for CoreWeave specifically, exclusively for them, by the end of this year and potentially into next year. Right. So maybe they'll be done building this facility by the end of this year, and it'll be fully operational by next year. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Since again, Applied Digital is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it seems like a lot of people are focusing on this deal and whether or not they're going to be able to pull through with this deal, just like I've been doing, right? Because again, any type of delays will definitely not do well for this company. But again, from an optimistic perspective, I really want this to work out for them, right? This is a very, very optimistic view. It's a very fairly new company is what I would say, just based on the overall kind of the timeline of where we're at with this current AI revolution and AI infrastructure, right? So this company is kind of literally pouring themselves into all of their company into these AI infrastructure. So they're kind of a new player is what I would say. So again, just be very, very careful with your investments, especially if you guys are willing to put in thousands and thousands of dollars into APLD. That's kind of my only caution that I have for you all is what I would say. Right? So again, I have my skepticism, but it's just cautious optimism as well, mixed in with that skepticism is what I would say. All right. So I'm just trying to be very careful with my words just so that you guys don't misunderstand me, right? But again, just be careful, right? Be cautiously optimistic, but you need to have your own fair share of skepticism, because if they're making these crazy timelines of trying to overpromise on a potential deal that they have right now, like with CoreWeave, or any type of deals that they have in the future, right? In a couple months down the line, maybe in the next year, okay? You guys should fully scrutinize those deals and see where they're going with those deals. Okay? There could be a lot of promises that could be unkept. Okay? So again, these data centers obviously require a lot of capital. I know some of my people who are very, very knowledgeable in that specific area with construction, and data centers require a heavy amount of capital, and most likely APLD is going to be borrowing even more, right? They're going to be getting more debt, right? They're going to be using debt to leverage, right, their potential growth of their business, which is building these data centers, right? These data center campuses for specific companies. Okay, so there's a lot of complex and nuanced numbers and factors that will all culminate into the fact that we should be in this company or we should not be in this company. Okay, so again, the overall answer that I have of whether or not APLD is a long-term buy is, well, we gotta wait and see, right? We have to wait and see. And like you said, John, you're at a loss so far, but you're hanging through or hanging tough, right? And that's gonna be the case for most of the investors who have been in APLD for quite some time, even just to start this year, right? You guys are halfway through the year, well, over halfway now, and some of you guys may be at a loss, right? Especially after last week's and this week's performance so far on the stock price. So now let's segue into the actual technical analysis for APLD. So again, my apologies for kind of being a bit silent here and there throughout the stream, because I really don't want to, crush people's dreams of becoming rich with this one investment alone, or maybe even trying to give too much confidence to the short. Just trying to be very careful in my words here, right? And not trying to really upset people on both sides here, right? Because again, this is requiring this type of company. If you guys are going to invest in this company, it requires a lot of objectivity, right? You guys have to be looking at things from both a bear and a bull case, right? You guys just can't be looking at this strictly on a bull case or a bear case, right? There are good reasons to be bullish, and there are also good reasons to be bearish. All right, so please make sure to remember that, right? And make sure you guys are hedging your bets if you guys are looking to pour thousands of your hard-earned money into this company. Okay, that's all I will say. Okay, for now. Okay, so fundamentally, I don't like it, but from a growth prospect, I do like it. Okay, so that's something that you guys should also harbor as well. If you guys have some feeling for this company, whether it be a feeling of hatred or a feeling of joy. Okay, so again, this is a little snippet from the overall CFO Swing Watch report. Again, you guys can join by taking a look down below in the description box. You guys will be able to find the link to the CFO Swing Watch report, where you guys will also gain full access to the private CFO Discord community once you guys join and become a reader of this CFO Swing Watch report. And again, I gave everyone a nice kind of a game plan here, okay, for APLD for the longer term. Okay, so for APLD, let's take a look at the technical analysis now. Okay, so first of all, APLD has lost the kind of ideal demand area that I really want it to hold from $10.25 to $11, or specifically $10 to $11 if you guys want to keep it simple and use whole number levels. And unfortunately, that's not looking too good. However, it seems like we're starting to form a new demand range, right? So we have a potential significant support around $9.50, or specifically $9.60 if you guys want to be very, very specific. And this could very well be a very nice support level. However, again, these lower lows and lower highs aren't looking too good. Okay, and again, this could just simply be a lot of the people who are starting to lose faith in the company, even though we have yet to see news out of the company, significant news, like where they are at with the current construction of that data center campus for CoreWeave, which I think is supposed to provide how much megawatts? I think it's like, let's see down here. Okay, this article says, 100 megawatts for CoreWeave. And again, what was the total amount of power that they're looking to get from Applied Digital? 250 megawatts. Okay, so that's going to be a significant portion of the total 250 megawatts that they're going to be providing with this one single data center campus alone. Okay, so if they really follow through, I mean, APLD will most likely skyrocket if they say that it's already ready and it's ready to run and operate by the end of this year. Okay, I mean, that's what we need to see. Those are the words that we need to see. But then again, I'm going to be seeing how much it costs them to even make that data center, even if all the news is positive, because I have to see where the total debt will stand at that point. Okay, the debt to equity ratio is not looking too good as well, by the way, if you guys want to check that out. You know, APLD, I really want you guys to understand that APLD will most likely go down and down and down from this point forward until we have some sort of significant update on this CoreWeave partnership and this data center campus or facility that they're making for CoreWeave, right? And if they do, again, I really wish that they pull through with their promise of that 250 megawatts throughout 15 years, right? But I really wish that they will provide 100 megawatts of power by the end of this year. That'll be absolutely amazing, and that'll be on point for APLD, right? This is what they're pouring their entire investments and going heavily into debt to make this work, right? You got to give to them, right? They're leveraging a lot of debt to try to build these data center campuses and facilities for larger companies and to grab more multi-million-dollar deals that could potentially generate billions of dollars of revenue in the future. So does that make sense, guys? So hopefully that kind of summarizes my entire, spiel about APLD, right? I'm also bearish, but also bullish, depending on what factors that I'm looking at, essentially. Okay, so now technically, again, I think we're going to continue to go down. This is a very, well, not I think, I'm pretty sure, because we're making lower highs and lower lows, and unfortunately, the daily 10 and daily 21 SMAs are still doing exactly what I expect them to do. Because again, if you guys take a look at the initial APLD technical analysis that I've done, you guys just take a look on my channel and just take a look at APLD. It's one of the most recently uploaded videos. You guys will see that I kind of drew out. Where's my? Oh, no, there it is. Okay, so I kind of drew out my daily 10 and daily 21 estimates and kind of showing you guys where they could potentially go, because again, I'm very comfortable with using my SMAs, and I'm fairly certain as to where they can go. And this is what I drew, right? So this is the 10 SMA, and then this is the 21 SMA. Okay, so this is kind of the rough drawing that I've done. That I did for my initial analysis on APLD, but I'm still expecting something like this to occur as long as we can continue to use this 9.60 level as a huge level of support, as we've done multiple times in the past, and as a huge level of resistance multiple times in the past as well. Right here and here, here. Okay, so the reason why I've also said that my potential path for my 10 and 21 SMAs are potentially going to be like this is that, well, the price should continue to move sideways. And if it does, it will tighten up in between these two short-term SMAs. And eventually, it should be making higher highs and higher lows and giving us that very good potential breakout back towards this $15 whole number level. And that's kind of what I said in that initial technical analysis as well. But this is just a rough price path here. This is not time dependent, right? I'm not. We're gonna be going up to $15 in the month of August, or we're gonna be consolidating for a month, most of July. I'm not saying that, right? This is just what I expect to see in the longer term future. Okay, obviously I'm not gonna know exactly how the price is gonna go, or else, well, I can tell you guys the future of APLD share price, but no one can do that, right? I'm not a time traveler, right? So this is kind of what I'm expecting to see from APLD from a technical perspective, right? But if we do break below 9.60, which I expect it to do, we should at least form some sort of a rough, very strong demand area above this gap up area, right? So this gap up has to hold, and I believe this is when we saw that news come out from CoreWeave and this company on that partnership, right? That 15-year partnership, and we need to hold this, right? Because if we don't hold it, that means the market makers are saying that, hey, they're not too sure about this partnership, not too sure whether or not APLD will able to come through, lock in and literally come through with this deal, right? And potentially provide that 100 megawatts of power from that data center facility for CoreWeave, okay? And again, why does this partnership matter? Okay, I'm gonna say it one last time. Why does this partnership matter? Because it's going to determine whether or not APLD is a viable company to rely on for building these data center facilities for larger companies like CoreWeave. This is literally a test run. Yes, the growth prospects are there if they're able to even build this first part of the data center facility for CoreWeave, right? So we need to absolutely see them come through and allow this data center facility to operate at 100 megawatts by the end of this year at the very least. If I'm supposed to give them room, okay, by this deadline, at the very least, be operational at full power to provide 100 megawatts of power for CoreWeave by early next year. Okay, I'll give them that early next year. That's the most amount of room that I will give them. But if they don't follow through with this, okay, they're going to lose out on a lot of future clients and potentially other larger companies that have a better track record and better financials than APLD will come through and most likely gobble up the deals that APLD potentially had in their pipeline. Okay, so for example, like I said, EQIX, this is another big leader, okay, that is trying to get into AI infrastructure. Okay, so APLD, it's a very, very high risk company that you guys are trying to invest into if you guys are very, very bullish on this company, but you guys really have to focus on that fourth quarter follow through with their 100 megawatt data center facility for CoreWeave. It's going to determine whether or not this company will be existing in the next, I would say, next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, or it's going to determine whether or not this company will still be here in the next 15 years to provide that power for CoreWeave alone. And obviously, for all the other potential companies that are looking at APLD and making these contracts and agreements for them to provide these data centers for their own AI demands and needs. Does that make sense? Okay, I see you guys' reactions there. Okay, so before I leave you guys here, okay, APLD has already had a history of dilution, right? They've diluted their investors quite a few times. Okay, so that's not looking too good. Okay, and APLD just became public as well. Again, back in 2020, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay, so why does this matter to you guys? For anyone out there who is looking to have a long-term position in APLD, well, first of all, if they, do secondary offerings or mixed shelf offerings, that's going to significantly dilute your long-term shares, right? The value of the long-term of your shares. Okay, and if you don't know what that means, just Google it. Okay, you guys should know what that means. All right, if you guys are avid investors, and if you guys don't, I don't know why you guys wouldn't. But they're basically trying to raise money, right? And that's great, right? If these secondary offerings provide more capital for the company, that's great. That gives them more room, more adaptability, more flexibility, especially when this company is looking to go heavily into such a capital-intensive industry, right? Building out these data centers. Okay, so when you're talking about even just the utilities, right? The power, right? Electricity, power efficiency, for example, as well, right? It's a capital intensive venture, and APLD is a very, very it's an innovative company, it's a new company, it's a growing company. Yes, all of that's great, but these are the type of companies that could easily fail and fall through their promises on contract agreements that look absolutely amazing on paper, but in reality, it could completely fail. Okay, so again, I'm not trying to bring down your hopes and your dreams, but you guys have to. I said it 3 times. Be very careful with your money that you're looking to invest into this company. Okay, so those are your high risks and concerns that you should have for this company, and you guys should absolutely scrutinize what this company will be doing with this current CoreWeave partnership that they have into the end of this year, and wait for that eventual news of whether or not they have fully constructed this data center to provide 100 megawatts of power for CoreWeave. It's going to make or break this company. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So I've been tiptoeing around all these different words here and there. Okay. But again, hopefully this made sense. All right. Again, I'm just trying to help you guys not lose thousands and thousands of your hard-earned money, because I know a lot of people tend to lose a lot of money on things like this, on companies like this, because they think that the growth prospects are huge, which again, it is huge, right? This is a company trying to dive straight into this burgeoning and expanding and rapidly ever-changing AI revolution, right? So I get that, right? But that doesn't mean you guys should just throw your money into every single potentially quote-unquote innovative AI infrastructure company, right? Just because you guys are thinking that, oh, this is one of those companies that are like the shovels, right? The shovel selling companies back in the day when we had the gold rush, right? They're the ones that made the most amount of money. But again, you can't really compare the gold rush to the current AI revolution, especially when we're talking about AI infrastructure, right? This is completely different than just simply selling shovels, right? Maybe if you're talking about manufacturing shovels, but I've seen that comparison and that analogy, and I don't think it's quite right? Especially if you want to have the correct mindset into properly scrutinizing this company and properly analyzing this company from a fundamental perspective. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So overall, my answer right now as to whether or not APLD is a long-term buy is a little bit gray. Actually, it is gray. Right? I'll just flat out say that, right? I'll be frank for the end of the stream here. Okay? Again, I'm not trying to be pushing your guys' hopes and dreams down, or I'm not trying to provide overzealous or overconfidence to all the short sellers out there. Okay? I'm just saying you guys have to be very, very, very careful with your money when you're trying to invest into these companies that are looking to really trying to go vertical, like literally vertical, into a very rapidly evolving industry like the AI infrastructure industry. Okay. All right. Well, whoa, it's already been 40 minutes. Wow. Or yeah, it's almost been 45 minutes. Time goes by fast when you're having fun, I guess. Okay, so that's my update on APLD, guys. Technically, it looks great. There's a lot of short, I think, let me see. I believe the short float is at 38%. So that could be a good thing, but if the short float or short interest percentage is at 38% after this run up, oof. That's all I'll say there. That's a little bit of a concern. The short float shouldn't be that high. The short interest percentage should not be that high after this rapid run up higher. I mean, yes, this high percentage could mean that we could have a potentially very nice short squeeze run up higher, maybe into the fourth quarter if we do see positive updates and progression updates for that data center facility for CoreWeave. But again, 38%, oof. Right, so do what you want with that info. If you guys want to short, at least head bet. If you guys are long equity, maybe use options to grab some puts to ride this short interest percentage for the meantime, right? For the short-term perspective, short to mid-term perspective, and hopefully for all the bullish people out there, I hope that your guys' principal positions will continue to rise up higher as we head into quarter 4. Okay. All right, but then again, that short interest percentage, 38%. Oof. I was expecting a little bit less than that after such a nice run up higher here, but it seems like the short interest has increased here, or maybe it has always stayed at 38%, which also does not make it look better, by the way. If you guys think that the short interest percentage sitting at 38% even after this very nice impulsive breakout towards the double digits and obviously hitting that $15 whole number level is great, well, it's not great. Right? It should have gone down, but it hasn't. So, please watch out for that. Please watch out from a technical perspective. If you guys are just focusing on this from a technical angle, look out for that short interest percentage. And obviously, please take a look at this broadening demand area, potential demand area from $9.60 to $11, right? 9.60 and 11.00. Okay, but then again, if you guys have any bullish thoughts from a technical perspective, please go ahead and take a look at my initial technical analysis on APLD by just taking a look at my channel, and you guys will see the most recently uploaded video there, or the second most recently uploaded video, and you guys will see it. Okay. All right, so that's it for tonight, guys. That's my take. Maybe you guys did not like hearing that take about APLD, but I think it's something that you guys should be thinking about, and I think it's worth hearing from me of my own kind of gray area take of this company, and obviously having that cautious optimism plus skepticism is going to be a huge money saver in the future, right? Or potentially very rewarding potential in the future. Okay. All right, so that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining my Tuesday stream. I'll see you guys again on Thursday, okay, at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you guys want to join the CFO Swing Watch report and gain full access to the private CFO Discord community, make sure you guys check down below in the description box. The very first link will take you to the subscription page, and it should be pretty self-explanatory, and there'll be a lot more information if you guys have any questions regarding the CFO Swing Watch report. Okay. All right, have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.